Welcome back to Green Living with Tea, where we believe true healing goes far beyond just what you eat. It's about the air you breathe, the products you put on your skin, and the environment you create for your body. Today, we are diving into a topic that's absolutely critical if you are navigating a chronic illness. And if you feel overwhelmed by chemicals lurking in your cabinets, in your food, or your environment, and you don't know where to start reducing your toxic daily load without sending your nervous system into a complete overdrive, you are here in the right place because we are talking with Lauren Less, a dedicated wellness advocate and expert in non-toxic living. And after facing her own journey with a chronic illness, Lauren took her health into her own hands. And she is here today to show us how to make simple, sustainable, and budget-friendly swaps that clean up your home and support your immune system, all without the guilt of perfectionism. And Laura was diagnosed early in her life with multiple food allergies. So combining her passion for food and helping others, she created a space people can visit for allergy-friendly recipes. And they all look so delicious, by the way.
Thank you.
And also for chronic illness support, non-toxic lifestyle suggestions, health and wellness tips. She discusses everything from fitness to chronic illness to tips for traveling with food allergies and more. Lauren, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm
You're
excited to
welcome.
chat.
Yeah, absolutely. This is obviously right in my wheelhouse. I love it so much. My sister has a gluten intolerance, and it's just, I can't wait for her to show her everything about you too. But you do much more than that. And I tell people all the time, I was very lucky. I was raised by a mother that raised all five of us, kept us away from processed foods, wouldn't let
Yeah.
any chemicals in our house. We had to clean with baking soda and vinegar, which
hmm
today, still to this day, we all do this. We all preach it. And, that's why I do
Yeah.
what I do, because so I can help others. That was my total goal coming out of college. Actually, I was supposed to open up a health food store, and then I became a party planner. That's a whole nother story. But this is why I do the podcast, to help others. And
Yeah.
this fell into your lap. You weren't
Yeah.
taught this. You did not go to college for this.
Right.
You had a problem and you had
Exactly.
to figure it out for yourself. Walk
Yeah.
us through your health journey and what got you onto this non-toxic living and food ingredient awareness.
Yeah. I will say, like, my parents, they weren't like holistic by any means, but they did lean a little bit more towards like, okay, you probably shouldn't eat too much processed food. Like they
Oh,
definitely
that's good.
were starting to get some ideas about that. And using like baking soda and vinegar along with, other cleaning products. So I would say they had like some awareness around it. But definitely not, the awareness that we have now.
Absolutely.
So I would say, I mean, my symptoms started when I was probably in like middle school.
Mm,
And those were kind of shrugged off, like growing pains. Okay, maybe there's
right.
something wrong with your thyroid. Never mind, there's nothing wrong with your thyroid. So that's kind of how it started. I was so fatigued. Like, it wasn't, looking back, I'm like, this was not normal. Like, I could not make it to my sports after school. Like, I was too tired to go. I was like, doing track and I was too tired to go after school. And then in high school, it was like I was too tired to go to gymnastics. So there was obviously something going on there, and it wasn't caught. And then I started experiencing GI issues, and I would say things were like okay in college, although I was realizing like how tired I was compared to everyone else. Like, I think living with so many girls made me realize, like, okay, I need more sleep than everyone else. Like, I can't just wake up in the morning and go to class like everyone else when we've stayed out till 2 in the morning or whatever it is.
Yep.
So I realized, like, okay, I'm not bouncing back. And then after college, I was experiencing a lot more GI issues, and those kind of continued on for like 7 years before finally they sent me to Mayo Clinic. And then that doctor there
Wow.
was like, I think you have a connective tissue disorder. And so that kind of sent me down this rabbit hole of like, I was diagnosed with a connective tissue disorder and POTS and mast cell activation syndrome. And then I learned that mold exposure can impact all those things. And then I was diagnosed with Lyme disease, which makes sense since I was bit by a tick in middle school, and that's kind of when my symptoms started. So looking back, I can kind of piece all the puzzle pieces together. Like I had a horrible mold exposure at work in 2017, and that's when a lot of my allergies went haywire. But I didn't know at the time how bad these things were and like what these exposures could do. And I think it was just like, I have a more sensitive body, and all these things over time added up. I got mono senior year of high school. Like all these things kind of just added up, and then, everything kind of came to a head when eventually my body couldn't handle all of it anymore. So,
And that was when you went to Mayo Clinic. My question for you then, were they trying to put you on all these medications as opposed to trying to treat the root cause?
I definitely think as I was trying to figure out what was going on, I had a lot of medication thrown at me. I was also having like frequent UTIs, so I kept being given antibiotics over and over.
Poor thing.
Yeah. And I didn't want to take them, but they tell you, okay, you have an infection, you need to take them.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no getting to like, and I didn't know at the time, like, why am I getting these UTIs over and over? What's going on? So I was given antibiotics over and over. I was put on a bunch of different medications to try to help my symptoms, and none of them really helped. So then I was sent to Mayo Clinic, and there wasn't really like a medication that was given to me after that. It kind of was like, okay, go to physical therapy, and then that's it. So I had to kind of figure out the rest on my own.
Wow. Mayo Clinic in Cleveland, or is there one in Chicago too?
Cleveland?
Is there only one?
Yeah,
Cleveland.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think there's one in Arizona too.
Yeah, I thought there was a few.
The Ohio one.
Other ones, yeah.
Yeah.
But here, no, there, you went to the top. You had a lot of issues at such a young age too. My gosh, unbelievable. Yeah. And obviously you had to make some major changes in your life.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And what were some of those changes that helped?
I feel like I basically changed everything. Yeah.
Wow. And so how old are you at this point now?
Let's see.
When you had to, you're probably working somewhere because you're post college, right?
Mm-hmm. It's probably like 24, 25.
Oh, in the prime of your fun years.
Totally. Yeah, exactly.
My gosh. And you were working in Chicago too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not doing what you're doing now.
No.
So I'm just trying to paint that picture because unfortunately you went through all this, and then you made all these changes in your diet that is that when you finally realized like, wow, it's the food that I've been eating?
Yeah, that was a piece of it. I like spontaneously developed food allergies, and I guess it wasn't really spontaneously. I think I had a horrible mold exposure, and then my immune system went haywire, and my gut health was wrecked, and all these things added up to my body kind of being like, I can't handle this anymore. But so then I was changing my lifestyle, my diet, basically everything. And then I started learning about non-toxic products and things that could impact me. And I was getting hives from laundry detergent, so I was switching those things out. And I learned about gut health. I learned about circadian rhythm. I learned about the right kind of exercise for my body. I've just learned so much. I learned about the nervous system, and my background is as a therapist. So I was working as a social worker at the time too, when I was like very, very sick. And I actually left the field for a little bit because I was not able to go to doctor's appointments. I was not able to get off work. So I actually left my job for a little bit and was working in real estate so that I could figure out what was going on with my health and have a little bit more flexibility to actually see doctors and kind of piece this all together.
Wow. unbelievable at such a young age. And I had mold exposure as well. So I understand how that
Okay.
can affect you. But I didn't have all
Yeah.
the other things that you had going on. I was lucky. I recovered
Yeah.
pretty quickly.
That's good.
Your body was being attacked, obviously,
Yeah.
by so many different things. I love, so did you self teach yourself about clean living per se and non-toxic things?
Um, Somewhat, yes. I mean, I found integrative medicine in
Medicine,
like
yep.
2019 and 2020, and that's when they were like, okay, you might have like mold can cause all these things.
Hmm.
And Lyme disease can be contributing to all of this. And then I kind of started learning about everything else that could be impacting my hormones or setting off my mast cells or causing some of these reactions that I was experiencing. So, and then I learned kind of about like your toxin bucket and
Hmm.
how you want to try to empty it as much as possible. So that's kind of, so a lot of it, yes, was self-teaching and also just learning from my providers, whatever they could teach me in, in our appointments. Um, but yeah, that's kind of how I started down that rabbit hole too.
Yeah, and integrative medicine, for anybody that's listening, nothing against our traditional healthcare providers. Our general practitioners pretty much are trained to give you medicine. They are not trained to find out what the root cause is. Integrative medicine, functional medicine is all about stepping back. Why are you getting all of
Right.
this? And let's try to figure it out that way. uh, Traditional medicine, they are trained somewhere around 6 hours of all of their medical school on any kind of preventative or healthcare. It's all about what medicine they can give you. So, nothing against them. We need them. We need some of the
Right.
medicine. But for your instance, medicine was not helping you at all. You needed to
Right.
find out what the root cause was, and you did. And so now, the greatest thing about this story, which I love, uh, unfortunately, you had to suffer through all that, but now you are helping people find out what truly matters without becoming fearful or overwhelmed, because it can be very
Yeah.
overwhelming. And I know because I do this all the time for people. Uh, Baby steps, take one
Yeah.
step at a time, do one thing that can change your toxic load that Lauren talked about, because we have a bucket and our buckets are pretty full when it comes to everything we are
Yeah.
inundated with. The good thing is we have people like Lauren that can show us. 10 years ago, there were very few people out there that could really uh, give you guidance and advice. So, why don't you tell people what you do now? Because you are on a phenomenal path. This is now your career, that you help people get rid of the toxins, but more so, you help people with recipes and different things as well.
Yeah. So yeah, like you said, I always tell people to just start simple and make swaps where they can. So if you run out of something, just find a less toxic option, a
Hmm.
cleaner option. Um, the things that you're using every day are really important, I think. So like if you're cooking all the time, you want to try to swap your pans first. Your air and water is really important. So if you can get an air filter, a water filter, I know these things add up. So like if you can put an air filter in your bedroom because you're spending a third of your life in
Yep.
there, or if you work from home and you can put it in your office wherever you're spending the most time, you can even move it when you sleep. Um, Anything your food is touching, swapping out plastic and getting glass Tupperware, that's a pretty budget friendly swap that you can make. Um, Anything you're using every day, like I said, like coffee creamer or oils. I think kind of looking at what you use the most and trying to swap those things first versus being worried about things that you might use every once in a while. I think that's what I usually tell people is a good place to start.
Yeah, that's a great place to start. I love red wine, so I drink only organic red wine. That's my vice. I like a glass or two every night, and
Yeah.
I don't want to be drinking chemicals. I don't want to be
Yeah.
drinking pesticides. So,
Right.
on that note, if you're a cook, make sure you're finding ingredients, right, that are
Mhm.
not using um, pesticides, chemicals in them. Like I just interviewed somebody with flour, and she had the same problems you had, and she realized it was from food allergies. And
Mhm.
now she has a great flour called Manny's flour. So
Oh,
I think
cool.
you're right on that. One step at a time. What you cook with is so critical. Do you want to talk about pots and pans just a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I think the best swaps that I've made are to stainless steel pans
Mhm.
or cast iron pans. Um, if you have trouble cleaning those, there are non-toxic ceramic options. I think if you can get the stainless steel or the cast iron, those are the better options. But if you are kind of in a pinch and you want to cook something quickly and clean it up quickly, those are better options than something like Teflon. And then same with baking sheets, like stainless steel is great. Um, and then there's also 100% ceramic options as well.
Yes, the ceramic is fine. You just have to be careful with how you use it, and it wears out fast.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and the swapping, one of the things that I do when I go through somebody's kitchen, number one thing is pots and pans,
Yeah.
especially if they're, and you'll agree with me on this, the uh, if they have any scratches on them.
Oh,
Not
yeah. Yeah.
that is cooking chemicals into your food.
Right.
Those are the not the two she's talking about, that not the stainless steel ones. It's the I can't even think of the name. They're
Like the non-stick ceramic ones with
non-stick.
the
I couldn't
hard.
think of
Yeah.
the word
Yeah.
non-stick. That is, it almost makes me cringe when and I'm like, don't
Yeah.
even give those away. Throw them
Throw them
away.
away.
They are
Yeah.
so toxic. And people don't understand that. I know you're also supposed to cook with them with only wood, not metal. Metal is horrible
Mm-hmm.
for them. So those little things and that people can do go a long way, like you said,
Yeah.
especially if you're cooking with it. You do not want those chemicals in your food every day.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes when people they can't smell the chemicals or they can't see them,
Mm-hmm.
that's when your advice is so important because you know so much about it and you post about it and you have blog about it and your website about it. So I love what you're doing and helping people make these swaps to a non-toxic lifestyle and not being scared to do it. And that's the
Yeah.
number one thing, right?
Yeah. I think that's really important. I think there's a lot of like fear mongering around these topics. Don't eat this, you're gonna die. Don't eat this, you're gonna get cancer. Don't do
Mm,
this or
right.
else. And I try to take the opposite approach. I know everyone has a different budget. I know everyone is working from, coming from a different place. So I think just like whatever you can do, and it has to be done out of like care and love for your body instead of fear.
Yeah, definitely. It has to be. And you talked, and there's a lot of greenwashing out there too
Mm-hmm.
that touched on that is also scary too because the health and wellness and non-toxic industry is growing so much.
Mm-hmm.
So many of these companies are trying to make believe that their products are okay. So
Right.
read the label. And
Yeah.
I would say if you can't pronounce it, don't eat it or don't put it on your skin. So those are some tips I always tell people that you can do. All right. So for somebody that is wanting to start make healthier swaps, but feels really kind of intimidated about the cost or the lifestyle
Mm-hmm.
shift, where would you tell them to go first?
Um,
Besides your website.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of great swaps that you can find at like Target or
Mm,
Walmart that are more budget friendly. You can find glass Tupperware, you can find, silicone options, you can find wooden spoons, you can find 100% organic cotton sheets for, a better price than some of these other places. So I think those are definitely good places to start that, have more budget friendly options. You can find glass or stainless steel water bottles. I'm trying to think of what else.
Yeah, no, I think thankfully Target is becoming Target and some of these
Yeah.
other bigger Walmarts are becoming more aware that this is important. I
Yeah.
always tell people, some people for shop for cleaning supplies, I use Molly Suds, but there's a lot of the other ones out there. Seventh
Mhm.
generation isn't terrible, but buy the fragrance free. Target carries seventh generation.
Yeah.
So I like that. I mean, there are things you can buy there. What about food? Obviously, a farmer's market is fabulous this time of year because you can get so much
Yes.
organic food from a farmer's market. But
Yeah.
people often think that their organic is way more expensive. What's your
Mhm.
thought on that?
I think, if you can get organic, you should. You can also kind of look at the dirty dozen
Mm,
list and see, if you can prioritize getting those organic. Also, it is cheaper to shop seasonally. Like
mhm.
when the produce is in season, it's usually cheaper than getting, strawberries that are in the winter or whenever. So
Right.
I think if you can try to shop seasonally, it also will be cheaper. And then sometimes if you get like frozen fruits or vegetables that are organic, those can sometimes be cheaper too. So that's another good way to, or buying them in bulk or going to Costco. That's another way to make it more affordable too.
Yeah, and the Dirty Dozen that Lauren is referring to is environmental working group that I refer a ton of people to. EWG.org it's is their handle, but
Mm-hmm.
environmental working group has been around for decades, and they put out a ton of information. I recommend you go to their website and dive into it. But they put out a
Yeah.
Dirty Dozen every year, and on that Dirty Dozen are, I think it's 12. Is it 10 or 12 fruits and
Mm-hmm.
vegetables that they recommend only buy organic. It's typical.
Mm-hmm.
Strawberries are always on there because if you think about strawberries being sprayed, if you've ever seen a strawberry crop, we lived part-time in California for a while. They're out there in white suits spraying the strawberries. So
Yeah.
they recommend only buy organic and these top products every year, but they also have a ton of other information on there. I don't know how
Mm-hmm.
you feel about our water, but our water also is
Yep.
so toxic. An environmental working group has a tab on there for that will tell you what's in your
What's
water
in your
wherever
water?
you live in
Yeah.
the United States. It's scary.
Yeah.
So I'm a big reverse osmosis person in our house. When we even go out to dinner, I bring my own water. I'm that scared. I've done so much research on our water, so I get nervous, and I just love my reverse osmosis water because I know it's getting out as many chemicals as possible. But I just wanted to say that about environmental working group. Do
Yeah.
you have any other websites or apps like EWG
Mhm.
that you use or you recommend people using? Like I know madesafe.org is another one that has
Mhm.
unbelievable, great products that they test.
Yeah.
Um, I
Yeah,
heard,
I use like the EWG app, or there's one called Think Dirty. Those are
oh yeah,
good
Think
for
Dirty.
like scanning products. And I think that's helpful for people who are just starting to kind of see
Right.
like what ingredients should I be looking to avoid or what ingredients are safe. And then it also tells you why, and it shows you studies on like why something's a possible carcinogen. So it has the research to back it up too, which I really like.
Yeah, I heard Yucca. Do you know Yucca
Yeah. Mhm.
is another one, right? That people have been using.
Yeah.
That it's an app that you can actually go to the grocery store and it'll scan the product. It'll tell you, I believe, the level of potential toxins in the product. So those are all little easy, cheap ways, free ways to start your road to living a less toxic life. Now, you had a chronic illness. A lot of people, listening here may not have chronic illnesses, or they might have a chronic illness. And are there any misconceptions around the chronic illness and food allergies and possibly living a non-toxic lifestyle?
Misconceptions. I think that until people get sick, they don't
Mm,
understand the importance of it a lot of
yeah,
times,
right.
especially people my age. They're just kind of living their lives and they don't know how these things can impact us. And I don't think anyone should live in fear, but I think there are ways to prevent these things from happening further down the road or prevent this, you know, your toxin bucket from overflowing and potentially getting, autoimmune issues or things like that later on in life.
Hmm.
Like you said, we already know that like just living in our modern world, our buckets are full. So
Yes.
like the air we're breathing, the water we're drinking, if you're just living your life as a normal person, like an average American that's eating mostly processed food and drinking tap water and breathing in our air, like you're already your toxin bucket's already full.
Yeah.
So I think learning about this stuff is important. I think a lot of people get overwhelmed and give up and say like, well, everything's toxic, so I'm just not going to do anything.
Yeah.
And so I don't have that choice to just like put my head in the sand. So I haven't. And so I try to educate people on, easier, healthier swaps you can make. And I think you can still enjoy your life. Like I go out to dinner and I have fries that I know are fried in canola oil, and I'm fine with that because I'm
Right.
having a good time. I'm going out to dinner. I'm enjoying a meal with my friends or my fiance or whoever, and I'm okay with that. I know that's not going to ruin my health, but 99% of the time, I'm living non-toxic, and I think once you swap everything over, it's not overwhelming. And I
Hmm.
say that a lot too. It's like I've been swapping things for 7 or 8 years now, so now I'm working on the bigger items like furniture and
Hmm.
couches and
Yep.
stuff like that. That's a whole other thing, and I repeat that on my social media a lot. I'm like, I'm showing you guys this rug, but you might not be here yet. You might not be here. Like I've been already swapping things for 7 or 8 years. So
Right.
there are ways to start slowly. And then once you've swapped everything over in your house, you're just, you already have it. And then I don't even think about it. I just go to my
Hmm.
fridge. I use the same, milk without any gums or fillers in it every
Yep.
morning, just a little splash of it in my matcha. And I have my wood cutting boards and I have my stainless steel pans and my wooden utensils. Like I just don't even think about it anymore.
Yep.
Um,
It
so
actually becomes fun
yeah,
in a way.
yeah,
Yeah, and you start to, I know what I know what you're saying too, because then eventually you become so aware of everything. And you said something at the very beginning that's really important. So many people don't know they don't feel well until you start
oh
feeling
yeah.
well,
Hmm.
right? And
Yeah.
once you start making some of these swaps, once you start changing your laundry detergent and not sleeping in chemicals all night, you might
Yeah.
not wake up with a sore throat. You might not have the sniffles thinking that it's the dust or the pollen.
Right.
You might not have that headache in the morning from
Hmm.
potentially the toxins, and then get that air purifier in your bedroom. I have them in 3 different rooms in our home. I'm a big proponent of them as well. So those are incredible tips for people to start off in the right direction. And I'll tell you something. My girlfriend from college called me last night. She's like, T, what about our toothbrushes? And she sent me this new toothbrush that's made with bamboo and I forgot what else, the bristles. I said, oh my God, what am I thinking? I've never thought about my toothbrush, my electric toothbrush, which I love. She said it's all plastic. So she put me in touch with this company who I'm now putting on the podcast. But all of a sudden this morning,
That's
she and I got
awesome.
a call. I'm like, how did I never even think about the toothbrush? I don't know if you think about toothbrushes, but this
Yeah.
morning I'm like, oh my God, toothbrushes are all plastic.
Yeah. What company is it?
It is, you probably maybe know, and I was actually flabbergasted when we talked about it, and I'm like, I can't even believe this because usually everything that comes in front of me, I am so critical of, and people
Yeah.
probably, even when we're traveling together, it's I don't know how Briute, Briute.
Oh, okay. I don't think I've heard of that.
I know.
Look into
I
it.
was,
Yeah.
and her story was pretty cool. She had cancer. And so she started looking at everything. This is a very common thing I hear,
Yeah.
and changed things out. But then she started the company a few years back. I want to say 19 maybe. But then she had a baby, so she had to put everything on hold, and she just restarted again in December. So, and I love supporting women, of course, as much as possible. But yeah, so it's becoming aware of what you are using, what you're touching, what you're putting in your mouth,
Yeah.
obviously, and what
Mhm.
you're eating. I mean, that's the message I try to portray, and you do
Yeah.
too. And thankfully, you are doing a fabulous job at it. And people can find you on your website, which is Less with Laur, LAUR.com. And she also, her Instagram, I already told you, make sure you check that out. Instagram, TikTok, and Substack at Less with Laur. Is Laur your nickname?
Um, yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Okay.
It
Or
just
people,
it just worked well for the handle. I feel like I did that a
yeah.
long time ago because my last name is Les, so I feel like it sounded
Oh, right. Yeah,
better
Less
than
with
Les with
Laur.
Laura. Yeah.
That sounds, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I love it. I
Yeah.
think you've done such a great job with it all. So,
Thank you.
and is there anything that I missed that we want to go over here that you want to say
Um,
anything? I know your Substack. I didn't dive into the Substack, but I encourage everybody to.
yeah, every Sunday I send out Sunday
Oh, that's
swaps.
right.
So I
That's
talk
right.
about a different topic every week, whether that's, bedroom swaps or air purifiers or, healthier barbecuing and grilling for the summer swaps. I'm trying to cover every topic possible over there. So I've
I
been
love
doing
it.
that
So
for a couple of years.
that's on Substack only,
Yeah, but I'll post the graphics onto Instagram, but I do kind of more of a deep dive on Substack.
and more detailed information about it. That's awesome.
Hmm.
People are looking for this. I know that.
Yeah.
So, well, this has been a great conversation. I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for
Um,
having me.
you're welcome. You're doing great stuff. Sorry you had to go through such pain in your early years, but now you are in a space where you can now help others, which is
Yeah.
critical in this world of toxic living, because there's so much surrounding us. But the more
Hmm.
we have, the better, and the more of you and the more of me. And that's why I love doing what I do, to get the word out about you. So
Yeah. Thank you. It's
I
so
appreciate it.
important.
Yes, it is very important. So thank you. And we will stay in touch, and read your ingredients and know your labels, everybody.
Yes.